Caucasus Mountains Part 2. Now, one of the things that's important to note is that Ruth is not a Gentile. And I don't know where the person got the idea that some churches got the idea that Ruth was a Gentile. She was not. She is descended from Lot. And Lot is a descendant of the eighth day creation. So, Ruth, a female, a Moabite. Ruth, a female friend, a Moabite woman, the wife first of and the first wife, Ruth's first husband is Maxwell, who was a descendant of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then the second husband was Boaz. But Ruth is not a Gentile. And Boaz, the ancestor of David and Christ, and one of the four women who are named by St. Matthew in the genealogy of Christ. A serious famine in the land of Judah induced Elimelech, a native of Bethlehem, Bethlehem Ephraim, to immigrate into the land of Moab with her wife Naomi and his two sons, Mahom and Kilion. This was probably about the time of Gideon, BC 1250. The end of the 10 years known, Naomi now left widow and childless, having heard that there was plenty again in Judah, resolved to return to Bethlehem, and her daughter-in-law Ruth returned with her. They arrived at Bethlehem just at the beginning of the barley harvest, and Ruth, going out to glean, chanced to go into the field of wheat. A wealthy man near kinman of her father-in-law. Elimelech, upon learning upon the stranger was Boaz, treated her with the uttermost kindness and respect, and sent her home to laden with the corn which she had gleaned, and encouraged by this incident, Naomi instructed Ruth to claim at the hand of Boaz that he should perform the part of her husband near kinsman by purchasing the inheritance of Elimelech and taking her to be his wife with all duties. Solemnity. Boaz took Ruth to be his wife. In the midst of the blessings and congratulations of their neighbors, their son Abad was the father of Jesse, who was the father of David. Moses' first wife, Miss Porah, is not a Gentile either, because Zipporah's father was a Median priest. They are descendants of Levi. They moved to that geographical location and lived there. And the reason why they were classified as a Median priest is because they were not Kenites. The only reason they're classified as Median because they lived in that geographical location. But they were Israelites. Median, the Jericho was a Median priest, and he and his family is descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. And of course, then later on, Moses married an Ethiopian woman. She was either a descendant of the 12, descendant of the 8th day creation that lived in Ethiopia at that time, or Moses did marry an Ethiopian wife. But even if he did marry an Ethiopian wife, his Ethiopian wife could not be considered someone who would receive the blessings and inheritance of the 12 tribes of Israel. Nope. Moses' second wife was Ethiopian, and his second wife is a descendant of one of Noah's sons. Moses' second wife was not black, but a descendant of one of Noah's sons, descended from Ham. And the disposal in Genesis chapter 9, verse 18 to 29, this supposed curse was where the black race come. That is not true. This curse that Noah put on one of his sons is not a curse that turned the skin black. And what happened is Noah just basically got upset at his son, but he didn't literally mean that God put a curse on one of his sons, or he put a curse on one of his sons. It was just Noah being upset. And Moses' second wife was an Ethiopian, and Moses' second wife is a descendant of Ham. Genesis chapter 10 verses 9 through 32. Let's just put it that way. Genesis chapter 10. We see Noah's son. Ethiopia was not inhabited by black people at that time. Black people are descendants of the 6th-day creation, not the 8th-day creation. And so, all the true descendants of Israel are white. Period. Although King Solomon did have other wives, the wives and their sons could not inherit the blessings King Solomon had more than one wife and had Gentiles. The Gentiles cannot receive the blessings of the 12 tribes of Israel because they're non-Israelite. And under the Old Testament, marrying a Gentile, interracial mixing was a sin and wrong back then. That is no longer the case now after Christ's resurrection. It is probably true that some of the Israelites married non-Israelites. You're not supposed to. But a non-Israelite could not inherit their sons could not inherit the blessings of Israel. Jeremiah 43 verses 6 through 7. And even the men and the women and the children and the king's daughter, every person that Nephazuta'ah, which means a Babylonian general, and the captains of the guard had left with Gittayah in the Hebrew, the son of Achikam, son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch, the son of Neriah. So they escaped into the land of Egypt, for they obeyed not the voice of the Lord. Thus came they even to caucus. And this, where we read in verse 6, the king's daughters. And so the prophet Jeremiah took the king's daughters to Egypt, and one of the daughters of Zedekiah, her name being Skota, married, and thus Scotland, then later then Scotland, and all the great European monarchs came out of the daughters of Zedekiah. I used to think there might perhaps be some ethnicity, that maybe perhaps some of the house of Judah would have been Ethiopian, Middle Eastern, Arab looking, and maybe Native Americans came from that descendancy, the house of Judah. But unfortunately, after a careful examination, mixing interracial marriage and so forth is a sin against God, or is not allowed in the Old Testament. But either way, even if the 12 tribes of Israel mix with the Gentiles, Gentiles cannot receive the blessings of true descendantry of the house of the 12 tribes of Israel. So, anyways, conditions of legal marriage. In the Hebrew Commonwealth, marriage was prohibited, between an Israelite and a non-Israelite. There were 3 grades of prohibition. Total regards to Canaanites on either side, total on the side of males in regards of Amorites and Moabites, and temporary on the side of males in regards to Edomites, Egyptians. Marriage with females in 2 latter instances being regarded as legal. The progeny of illegal marriages between Israelites and non-Israelites was described as bastards. Deuteronomy 23:2. If a person is illegitimate marriage by birth, neither his nor his descendants for 10 generations may be able to admit to the assembly of the Lord. No Amorites, Moabites, or any of the descendants of 10 generations may be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. These nations did not welcome you with food, water when you came out of Egypt. Instead, they hired Balaam, son of Beor, from Pather in Distan, to curse you.